Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome to the channel. It's T Ultra here, and we have a lot of stuff to do in this 6th episode of our No Money Spent series. So the main focus of this episode is kind of working on improving this collector level. We're trying to get all the way from here, all the way to this Galaxy Opal Anthony Davis card. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a little bit of a game plan down for you guys on what I'm going to do moving forward. So in order to do that, we're going to look at some of the cards that we are going to be selling in this video, and some of the cards that we've already sold and cards that we have purchased that we are adding to our collection. And then after we take care of that, I'm going to show you guys what cards, what collections, and what sets that I'm going to be targeting so that I can get to this Galaxy Opal Anthony Davis the most cost-efficient way as possible. So first thing is first, we are at 1,752 cards. So we're just going to take care of the most simple thing that we've been doing, and that's going to our auction outcomes, and we're just going to add all of these cards to our collection. I won't go super in depth with all of these cards, but I just kind of want to walk you guys through what I've been doing. So like I added this DeAndre Jordan heat check card for 3.3K, and then the rest of these Nets heat check cards I got for around 2K, some a little more, some a little less. Another great thing about adding all these heat check cards is that we actually will be completing the Nets heat check series, or the collection. So basically what that means is we will be getting some tokens for not only completing the set, but that is our first set in that conference that we completed for a heat check collection. So that means we get additional tokens because you get extra tokens when you complete your first set in each conference. So we're also going to go through and add the rest of these cards. I got that Kevin Huter card or whatever for 1,500. I got this Dwayne Bacon card for about 1,800. Like all of these cards right here, what I did was I went to the auction house and I just made the max bid, or the max buyout, 1,800 MT, and I just bought all the ones that were available. And the reason I did this was because I thought that was a very good price for all of these cards since I'm going for collector level. So I figured why not add as many cards as I could. In total, we are adding 26 cards to our collection, if I counted correctly. So after we add all of these cards, we will be at 1,778 cards, which means that it sounds daunting, but we will only be 1,122 cards away from that Galaxy Opal Anthony Davis. And while that might sound like a steep task to accomplish, I think I have a pretty good plan on how we can get there. I ended up buying this Mike Conley card for a little under 5K, and then this Mohamed Abdul Rauf card for a little over 5K. And then I got this Denzel Valentine for only 1.1K, so that was a really good price. And then I also got this guy for another decent price. It was a little under 2K, I'm pretty sure. And then I just added these jerseys. Jerseys do also count towards your collector level, which is huge. So if you notice, guys, if you're wondering why I'm buying these cards that I'm not using, it is because I am trying to add these cards for collector level. I try to just buy cards for a good price. Like I bought that Mike Conley for a little under 5K, which was a really good price for him. Like I might not use him ever. I mean, he's a pretty good budget card. I might not use him ever, but he's like a decent priced card to add to your collector level for what he is. And you're going to have to eventually get all of these cards anyways at some point. So it's good to just buy them for a good price when you can, if that is your goal. You don't have to just blindly spend your MT. I almost don't advise going for collector level because there's so many good cards in the game that it's not really necessary, but I'm kind of like deep into it now, so I'm kind of just going all out for it. This Lonnie Walker card we bought in a previous episode for like 2,800 something like that, and we ended up selling him for 5,750, so we made a really good profit from that. And then we also just pulled a bunch of these jerseys and stuff like that. And these are all duplicate jerseys, duplicate arenas, stuff like that we are just selling on the auction house. And as you can see, we're making a decent amount of MT from each one. I won't show you all of them, but as you can see, we're making a lot of MT. Like we got a lot of these duplicate things, like some players, some jerseys. So make sure you're like putting them on the auction house and not just quick selling, because there is a lot of profit to be made just from doing that kind of stuff. And just to kind of highlight a couple of things here, I bought a bunch of these Thon makers for like 1,800-ish, and that one sold for 2,600. So that's, you know, a decent profit. That was a good investment. I have a couple more to sell. This was just a duplicate Luka. This Vince Carter card, he was part of a Spotlight series. I ended up selling him for about 33K right there. And these are just some other cards that I bought. But as you can see, we just made a bunch of MT just from kind of selling some cards that we have. We started at about 22,600 MT, and just like that, we're all the way up at 73K. So that was a pretty good move right there. We got a lot of MT just from selling cards that we either have already, they're just duplicates, and that Vince Carter card, we sold him. And while I am going for collector level, what I'm gonna harp on in this episode is that doesn't mean that I should keep every single card. Like, that card is worth 32K. So with that, I can buy a bunch of these cards that I still need. Hey, I thought I finished this. What in the world? What is happening? Oh, there's a secret one down here. I didn't even see that. All right, we'll go ahead and buy this guy too. Bam, we'll add him. And then watch this, guys. This is gonna be pretty cool. So we complete the set. Okay, lets me go back over there. There we go. So we're gonna lock in this set. We get 25 tokens, and then you see on the bottom left right there, it says my team goal achieved or whatever. So then we're gonna go here to the agenda, and then we accomplished a lifetime goal of completing an Eastern Heat Check collection, and we end up getting 25 additional tokens. I kind of did the math a little bit, and right now we are at 1,779 cards. So that means we're just over 1,100 cards away from getting that Galaxy Opal Anthony Davis. And it seems like a lot of cards, and don't get me wrong, it is. But just from this current Series 2 alone, we have 373 cards just that we are missing from these like sets right here. So that's a lot of cards that we can add. And by the way, guys, I did do all this math before we added those cards. So the numbers that I'm giving right now are we're actually a little bit closer than what I'm saying, just because we added all of these cards. But for this Heat Check series, we still had 367 cards missing from all of these Heat Check collections. And that was before we added some of these cards that you see right here, the ones with the exclamation points. We just added all these cards. So we have fewer than that left to, complete all these Heat Check collections here. But just to kind of summarize, before we added all those cards to our collection right there, we actually had a total of 930 cards between this current Series 2, this Heat Check, these jerseys right here. If you go to miscellaneous, if you add up these jerseys, if you add up the coaches, the arenas, the playbooks, the logos, all of these basketballs, all of these, where are they? These other basketballs right here, these team basketballs, like from like various offline challenges and doing agenda rewards and stuff. And I'm not even counting like the rewards you get. Like, I didn't count like this Jerry Stackhouse, this Bob McAdoo. I didn't count this disco ball. Like, I didn't count really any of the like rewards you get for completing sets. So that's a whole nother thing that we also have to think about, is that we could be getting a little bit of a bonus card here and there. And then on top of that, guys, if you look at the premium, we have like 15 of these cards left. Like, some of these don't go for that much MT. We have a bunch of these cards left. Like, I mean, some of these cards don't go for a lot. Like, this one only goes for a little over 3K. Like, that's nothing. We can easily get those cards whenever we want to. I have most of these cards. We still can end up buying back some of these Spotlight Series cards if we need to, once we get really close to completing the collector level, but they're just so expensive right now compared to some of these other cards. Like, you can get a lot of these cards for really cheap compared to some of those cards. So I'm just kind of focusing on completing some of these right now. We have a bunch of these Prime Series 2 cards left. We have 6 New Year's Resolutions, 6 Frostbite, 6 Campus Legends, 14 Buzzer Beaters, 5 Leap Year. Like, we have a lot of cards. We still have 8 of these Spotlight Sim cards to buy if we need to. And then on top of that, we also have 22 of these free Spotlight Sim cards. So that's a bunch of cards right there that we can be adding to our collection. We also have some of these Spotlight reward cards that I haven't finished all the Spotlight series. I finished all the ones that you needed to get the Brandon Roy, but I didn't do all of the first 5 sets that you needed to get that Magic Johnson. So that's something we could work on as well. We could get lucky and get some triple threat pulls right here when we play triple threat. So we still have a lot of, cards available to us to add to our collection. And the reason I bring that up is because knowing that tells me that I should be selling some of these cards that have a lot of value, because one, I can be selling these cards and making a lot of MT on top of what I have, and then I can turn one card into multiple cards. Like, for instance, this Brandon Ingram, he normally is going for a lot, like usually over 50K, sometimes over 100K. But even this guy right here, he's going for about 20K right there. I can turn that into, you know, a bunch of current series cards. Like you look at any card in these moments of the week things, like even this one, it's going for 4K. That's actually pretty cheap for some of these cards in these sets, just because they have been out of packs for so long and so many people locked them in. If you just look through them, this Malcolm Brogdon sometimes goes for over 100K. So these are some of the cards that we are going to be selling. I'm just going to do a brief little overview of like which cards I'm going to be selling. And since these cards are so rare due to them not being in packs anymore and people locking them in, and they do have such good value, because I'm not using any of these cards anyways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to list a bunch of these on the auction house. I'm going to make a bunch of MT, and then I'm going to focus on completing some of those cheaper collections like the current series 2, the heat check, the jerseys, coaches, arenas, playbooks, you know, logos, stuff like that. And then that will help propel us to get really close to that collector level. And then I'm sure that 2K will even release more cards by the time we get even closer to collector level, and there will be more cheap cards to buy by then as well. So to me, that's just a good strategy. Plus, another thing, it is very possible that 2K releases some sort of super pack or something that has all of these cards in there. So with that being said, we are going to go through and sell them now, because we don't want to, you know, lose out on this opportunity to make MT from these cards that we're not even using. The prices might not be the same for like when you're looking on the auction house, it might be a little bit different. But right now, this guy's going for about 20K. So if we can get that for him, I would be, you know, pretty happy with that. So always double check the auction house. Make sure he's not going for anything like extra, because if you sell him for 20K and he's going for 50, you're going to be kind of sad about that. So we're not really in a rush to sell him actually. So we're going to go ahead and do maybe like 22K, see if we can get a little extra for him. I'm really just going to focus on selling the cards that have like a lot of value. Like even this Kelly Oubre, it looks like there's one for 6K right now, and he's not really selling. So I might just wait to see if he goes for a little bit more than that, because I would rather just keep that card for that price rather than have to worry about maybe having to buy him back as I get closer to approaching my collector level goal. But while we're doing this, it might seem like we're taking a step back because we're losing cards. But the beauty of it is that if we do this properly, once we come out on the other side, we will be 2 steps ahead, and we will have made a good amount of MT to buy a bunch of these cards. And then hopefully, you know, maybe it's even possible that these cards will come out in packs, and we will be able to buy them back for a very much cheaper price. It's possible. You never know. You never know what 2K is going to do. So I'm not going to show you guys every single card I look at. I'm just kind of going to show you some of the highlights. Like this Jason Tatum is going for 20K. So we'll send him to the auctions and try to... We'll actually list him for a little bit more than that, just because, like I said, we're not in like a rush to sell him. So we're going to just list him for a little over 20K. Hopefully, we'll list him for 12 hours, and then hopefully by the time that time runs out, his price will go up a little bit. But if not, that's okay. We can just put him back up. It's no big deal. But another thing is, as we're going through these cards, I'm going to try to avoid selling Evo cards, just because it's not like an official goal of mine, but I kind of do want to Evo as many cards as I can, just because it's just kind of a fun thing to do. And cards that I've used a lot over like the course of, you know, the time that 2K has been out, I'm probably not going to sell those either, just because, like, I don't know, like if I use a card a lot, I kind of like to just have it, keep it kind of for sentimental reasons. Especially if it's like not gonna make me that much MT and it's not really worth it, I'd rather just keep the card and not have to worry about buying it back later. If we do need to, we can end up selling more of these cards just to kind of make sure that we get a lot of MT, but some of these cards are really not going for that much. Like even if it's under, you know, if it's around 5 or 6K, there's really no reason for me to sell it, because I am still going for a collector level, so it doesn't really make sense to sell a card for 5K, because I'm just going to try to turn around and buy another card with it. And at that point, it kind of just makes more sense to keep the card. As you can see here, like this Devin Booker is going for quite a bit of MT. It's not that good of a card anymore, but since it's so rare, you know, it's just going for a pretty penny. This Andrew Wiggins, it looks like he's going for 15 to 20K, so we'll auction him off as well. All right, and here's one of my biggest regrets of the year. I locked in this set for some reason. At the beginning of the year, I just decided to lock in anything I could, and I'm regretting it. Like this Bam Adebayo, there's only one up, and it's going for 10K MT. So that doesn't mean he necessarily sells for that amount, but I could probably get quite a bit of MT for that card. And I locked it in for only 50K MT, which was really, really weird. I don't know why I did that. Actually, I do know the reason that I did it. It was just kind of a goofy reason, because for some reason, like I said, at the beginning of the year, I figured that I would just keep all the cards and I would never sell anything back, because I thought you literally had to get pretty much every single card in the game to get to that Anthony Davis card. And you do need a lot of cards, don't get me wrong, but I was just kind of had the wrong mindset, because I was thinking, well, I'm not going to ever sell these cards back anyways, so what's the point of, you know, not locking them in? I get an extra 50K, like it's whatever. But as you can see here, looking at these prices, I could be making a lot more than 50 MT or than 50K MT if I were to just go ahead and sell these cards. But they're locked in, so there's nothing we can do about that. Now here is an example of a couple cards that you probably wouldn't think would go for a lot of MT just because they're not even rated highly, but you can see here, there's two Sapphires here. This Brandon Clark, right now, the cheapest one up is going for 12,450, and that one was actually, if it was a 4-hour bid, that was just posted a little bit ago. So it's very possible that he's going closer to 25K than 12.5K. And then this guy right here is also going for, looks like this one also was probably just posted for a little under 12K. So if I do list this one, which I am going to do, I'm probably going to list it for about, 20K and see if he sells. And if not, I'll just list him again, maybe a little bit cheaper. Again, here is a Terry Rozier card. He is going for, like, the price that is on the auction house isn't necessarily how much it's going for, especially because there's only two up. But as you can see, there's only two up, so that means they're pretty rare. So if someone comes looking for this card and we have the cheapest one up there and it's like 9 to 10K MT, they're probably going to buy it. So we're going to go ahead and list these three cards on the auction house for sure. Even this guy right here, he looks like he might be going for a decent amount. It's hard to say because it's all just like bids that are up, and then this buy now is a 12.2K. So it's hard to say what he's actually going for. So that's another card that I'll probably just monitor. We won't list him like right now, but we'll keep an eye on him. But like some of these cards, they're not going for very much MT. Like this guy, not much. Marcus Morris right here, he's not going for a lot. This Donovan Mitchell card was in a locker code, so a lot of people got him for free, and he's still not very much MT. So we're just going to keep him in our collection right here. In case you guys do have any of these cards, this Spencer Dinwiddie is going for quite a bit of MT. I don't know why I just went back right there. I didn't mean to. This Josh Richardson is also going for a decent amount. I just went back again. Man, I keep doing that. And then Jokic is also going for quite a bit. So if you have some of those cards, you might be interested in selling them as well. I hope that this is making like some sense. And another thing I have to add is that, especially if you're not going for collector level, this is another thing that is smart to do, because if you're not using these cards, which at this stage of the game you're probably not, it makes perfect sense to go through these cards and sell them, because some of these are going for quite a bit of MT. And honestly, if you're not going for collector level, pretty much I would just recommend selling any of these cards you're not using. Like, yeah, this Jared Allen, he's only going for like 2K MT, but why not just take the 2K MT, you know? Like, if you aren't going for collector level, just take the MT, because you're not using the card anyways, unless you need it for like those offline Spotlight Sim challenges or something like that. You can like make some MT from these. Like if you sold this for 3, this for 2, this for 2, this for 2, you know, it all adds up. If you have this card and you don't use it, you can easily get like what, 4 to 5K for them. Oh, that one's 3.6. But even like that, like that's MT that, you know, you're making, and you can use it to get cards that you actually want, which I don't know. Like I do think it's kind of fun going for collector level, but at the same time, I think it would be cool to also play the game where you're not really focused on collecting cards and you sell the cards that you're not using, because I'm kind of just in it for the long haul of getting that Anthony Davis. And at the end of the day, there are a lot of cards out right now that are really good. So it might be nice to just have the MT on hand, but I've already gone this far, so I'm just kind of going to stick with it. There's Lonnie Walker. If you guys remember, we did just sell one of these in this video, and we bought him for 2.8K in another video. Looks like there's one up for 2.7K, so that could be an interesting thing to like buy and resell. I'm not going to do it right now, but he usually goes for a decent amount. We ended up selling ours for 5,000 something MT. So we made a decent profit just from buying and selling that same card. We might end up selling this guy. It looks like he's going for at least, you know, about 6K MT. That might be a good card to sell. It's like on the verge of being worth it. Same with this guy. He's going for about 10K, so we'll consider selling him as well. We don't have this guy. Ooh, that looked like a pretty good price. 5,100. I think we should buy that because, yeah, let's buy it. Let's buy this. We can either resell it later, or since it's already a good price, like we got it for a fair price, I would say. So we might just end up keeping him and, you know, using it towards our collector level. Like, you never know. We might keep him. This guy was also in a locker code, Jaylen Brown, so that's why he's not going for very much MT. This Jimmy Butler card is going for a pretty penny. For any cards that aren't going for more than 10K, we'll probably end up keeping them. Once they're like between 7 and 10K, that's where it gets interesting, because you're trying to figure out, like this guy right here, like Tobias Harris. It's probably worth just keeping him for what I'm doing, because I want to have as many cards as I can. So if I sold this card, I wouldn't be getting that many cards in return from selling it. And, you know, it's probably just not worth it. But like this Bam Adebayo card, on the other hand, this might be worth selling because there's only 2 in the auction house right now, and the cheapest one is 15K MT. So I think we'll probably end up selling this guy. Also, I'm sure you guys know this, but a lot of these sets lock in for tokens. Some of them lock in for players. At this stage, I'm kind of over locking in a bunch of MT just for tokens because, in my opinion, it looks like... Oh, there we go. We added him to our collection. But anyways, it's just kind of overrated to lock in that much MT for tokens because, like, you can get tokens from all other sorts of things, like locking in collections, maybe like current series or heat checks where you're not having as much MT invested, or playing triple threat online and offline and doing stuff like that, doing challenges, doing events where you're actually not investing any MT. So that way it's a little bit more cost effective to not have to lock in that much MT just for tokens, because the token market is kind of dry, honestly. Like, there's some decent cards in there, but it's probably not worth locking in a bunch of your cards just for that. Like, we could buy this Jimmy Butler card right here. That's all we need to lock in the set for 100 tokens. Like, it's kind of tempting, but I don't know. We'll think about it, but I don't think it's really worth it because there's a lot of MT in this set right here. Like, if you add up all the cards, like it adds up. So it's just hard to commit that much MT to only like 100 tokens. That's a Galaxy Opal is 750 tokens, and the only like Galaxy Opals that are good that I don't have are Tim Duncan and Bradley Beal. So do I really want to give up that much MT to get a little bit under 1/7 of the way? What did I just do there? What did I just do? What did I just do? Where did he go? Where did he go? Oh, what the heck? Yo, it would be Jamal Murray that just kind of messed that whole thing up. That's weird. I'm really glad I didn't accidentally quick sell him. I have no idea what I was doing. It's kind of hard to talk and do this at the same time. If you see me like kind of go back and forth between stuff 100 times, that's probably why. Yeah, I definitely did not mean to send him to my auctions. Like, that's a card that we're going to keep. It's not worth selling him for only 2K MT. All right, he's back where he belongs. I'll just take a look at some of these other cards. This Dennis Schroeder might be a good card to sell. Like, this is another one that's on the verge of, is he worth selling? Is he just worth keeping for collector level purposes? But I've said it already a few times in this video, so sorry if it's a little repetitive. But if I wasn't going for collector level, I would pretty much be selling all of these cards because, like, just this card alone, 5K. If you can see it, 5, 5, and 5, that's 15K right there. Like, you're getting at least 20K, 25K just from these cards right here. And that's not even counting this, like, Spencer Dinwiddie. He's going for 15K, and I backed out too far again because it's hard to talk and look at cards at the same time. Jason Tatum, he can goes in for like 50K. Kyle Lowry going for 20. So, I mean, you're looking at, you know, a lot of MT right there. If, like, it's just kind of sitting there doing nothing. So I'm actually really trying to get this collector level done as soon as possible so I can just go back and sell a bunch of these cards that I'm not using because all that MT is going to add up. All right, Lonzo Ball right here is a good example. He's just an amethyst, but these two were just listed for 14 to 15 and 12.5K MT. Other than that, the cheapest one up is 20K. So if I can get like around 20K for him, I will be happy with that. So I'm going to throw him up for like 19K and put them up there for about 12 hours, and hopefully at some point over the next 12 hours, those other ones that were cheaper than 19K will sell, and then this Lonzo Ball will be the cheapest one up there at that point, and then hopefully someone is itching to get Lonzo Ball on their team, so hopefully they buy that, and that's to me, that's worth it. Like, you're getting almost 20K just for one card. We can use that to get a bunch of other cards, and then let's not forget, we're also playing the game along the way. Like, we're doing all sorts of other stuff, so we will be making MT from like Triple Threat and offline stuff, and if we do need to end up buying some of these cards back, like I said, we can do that later on in the year. And it's also very possible, as I mentioned, that a lot of these cards will like drop in value, because it's possible that 2K drops some sort of pack that has all of these cards in them. It's not guaranteed by any means, but you just never know. It's possible. Yeah, guys, I would almost recommend just not going for collector level unless you want to. Like, I'm just doing it because I want to. It's as simple as that, but it's probably not the smartest thing to do. I'm kind of doing it just because I want that Anthony Davis, and I think it'd be cool to make a video about him. But other than that, it would just make so much more sense. Like, I would have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of MT on top of what I have. Like, a lot. I don't want to put an exact number on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like over 1 million MT I just have sitting, doing nothing. So that's one reason why it might just not be worth it to go for a collector level like I'm doing. Anyways, these are the cards that we ended up listing from Moments of the Week. These guys right here: Shai, Jason Tatum, Wiggins, Terry Rozier, Chris Boucher, Brandon Clark, Bam Adebayo, and Lonzo Ball. So if we end up selling all these, I didn't sell them for like a cheap price. I sold them for like close to the lowest price on there, sometimes a little bit more if I thought I could maybe get more if I got lucky. But we could get close to like 100K. This is 20, 40, 60, 70, 90. Yeah. So, and I was like rounding down. So we're going to get over 100K if we sell them for this price. And we should be able to get at least 100K just from selling those cards no matter what. And with that, we can finish so many of these collections, and we can get a lot of these cards. And what I like to do is I like to just go to the auction house, go to the theme. If I'm looking for heat checks, what I'll do is I'll just go to heat check, and I'll go down to minimum bid 500, or minimum buyout 500, maximum buyout 800, and then usually I'll just check to see if anything's on there. And one thing I have noticed, which is kind of annoying, the auction house is just kind of glitchy, where sometimes you'll have to put in another detail for something to show up. Like, I've had it before where I've put it in as 1800 and nothing comes up, but then I'll be more specific. I'll be like, okay, point guards, and then something will come up. It's also possible that there's just nothing up right now. So that's why it's kind of hard to say, but we'll look for 1900. All right, there's quite a few up for 1900. Let's see if there's any for 1850. It says no. So what's annoying about this is I'm still going to scroll through just to see if, there's anything for cheaper than 1900, and there's not. So the auction house is not glitching. At least it doesn't appear that it is. It probably is. You never know. But what I might do is I might just go through and buy all these cards because they're cheap. But that's only if I'm going for collector level. Like, this is not me telling you to do this if that's not your goal. If your goal is to save MT and buy good cards, and you don't want to lock in these heat check collections, especially if you don't want to get the tokens and like lock them in and be stuck with these cards for the rest of eternity, then just don't buy them. You know what I mean? Just don't buy them and then sell them when you get them for free. That's pretty much all you can do. I'm not going to do it in this video here, but we also do have a bunch of shoes we can sell. We got 1, 2, 4, 7. Like, we got like over like 10 to 15 right there. We probably have 10 to 15 shoes that we can sell. Make sure you're just quick selling them right there, unless they're a diamond shoe. Or gold 3-point shoes also go for sometimes like 1K, sometimes even more than that. So that's another thing to be aware of. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much my plan. I'm hoping we get a good price for those Moments of the Week cards. And then, like I said, we're just going to use the MT to work on getting some of those cards that aren't that expensive. As I said, we have over 900 cards between current series 2, heat checks, balls, logos, playbooks, coaches, jerseys, stuff like that we can work on getting. And those cards are a lot cheaper than a lot of those Moment of the Week cards. So That would be huge. And then ideally what would happen is those cards, those moments of the week cards will drop in value eventually before or after we sell them. So if we do need a few more cards once we get closer to this Anthony Davis, we can go back and buy some of those cards later on, and hopefully they'll be cheaper. For that to happen, 2K would have to put out some sort of pack that has those cards in them. It's hard to say if they'll do it. It's very possible. We'll have to see. But even if they don't, I think we're still getting good value, and we will be able to get to 2,900, I think, without relying on having those cards. So yeah, I hope that video was at least a little bit helpful. It was more so directed to people that are going for a collector level, but I can also say to anyone who is not going for collector level, which is probably a large majority of you, just do the same thing that I did in this video, except sell pretty much all of your moment of the week cards. Like, there's no reason to keep them unless you have some sort of attachment to them, like it's your favorite player, you used it a lot, you want to keep all your Evo cards just because you grinded them out and you want to keep them. And like, if you're not using a moments of the week card and it's just sitting there and your main goal is to make as much MT as possible and you don't care about collector level, those cards are great to sell, especially like, maybe not when I say right now, I don't necessarily mean like right this second, but at this stage of the year, since those cards are so rare, they are going for so much more MT than they're actually worth, because people are still buying them for collector level to lock in the sets that they're in to get the tokens or the players that they come with or whatever. So definitely sell those cards if you want to make some MT. And if you're going for a collector level, you can do what I did. I just sold the expensive ones so that I can get closer to this Anthony Davis. But yeah, guys, I hope this was helpful. Leave a like if it helped. Comment below if you have any other thoughts. Let me know what kind of your game plan is moving forward. Let me know if you're going for this Anthony Davis or if you're trying to get to a certain point of the collector level and then sell back down. I'm interested to see what other people are doing. And yeah, subscribe if you want to see more. The next episode will probably feature kind of like what the outcome of those auctions was and then how we ended up spending that MT to improve our collector level. And like I said, we took kind of a step backwards in this video because we added a bunch of those cards to our collection and we ended up with 1,778, and we ended up taking 6 cards out of our collection. So that might seem counterintuitive to increasing your collector level, but in the long run, we're going to be making MT that we can use to buy a bunch of other cards. And yeah, I think that seems pretty smart to me. And then we're just going to keep playing the game, keep making MT from playing the game, getting some free cards from completing some stuff we haven't done, opening packs like that we get from Triple Threat Online. There's all sorts of ways to go about it. So like I said, let me know below what you guys are doing. I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one. Peace out.